Hello and welcome to the DeSheltered podcast, the only podcast that has 10 minutes of outtakes in the intro. Because we're that good.
Yeah, we're that good at our jobs.
Yeah, we need 10 minutes of startup before we actually get into the meat of everything.
That's right.
Yeah. And before we start off, Dave has a word from our sponsor.
That's right.
Yes.
This video is sponsored by mail. Not email, just mail.
Mail? Like letter mail?
Mhm.
Yeah. They're my favorite company. They've been with us since the beginning. Since episode 2, I think. Yeah. Tell me about mail. What is it about mail that gets you so hyped up? Our glorious sponsor, Mail.
Use our promo code DeSheltered for 10%. This video is brought to you by stamps.
Actually, I should stop throwing improv at you, dude. You're not.
I know.
I
literally thought the most boring thing possible.
Mail.
This video is brought to you
it
by
has
stamps.
Potential. It is.
Mail.
It was like brought to you by Mail. My favorite. Nah, I got nothing either. Jesus. Yeah. Yeah. We got a couple topics for this one.
The giant
Thankfully.
horse conch.
Oh no, none of those things. Dreams. Let's actually start it with a banger. Dreams. We have them.
Everyone has dreams.
Yeah, sometimes. But for real though, the dreams. I don't know if this is the thing for you, but I don't actually have dreams that often. Only under like special circumstances.
I don't remember my dreams very often.
Me neither. I do have a really weird dream, or part of a dream.
Yeah.
It was only like a couple days ago. I think it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday morning. I woke up to the weirdest dream I've had in years. The thing about this dream is that I don't even remember most of it. I don't remember most of it. All I remember is that in the dream, I was up to a point where I was with this guy.
Oh, was it a wet dream?
Maybe.
Okay. I just want to give people forewarning.
Well, you probably... it was bad timing on that because he sounded like you. No, here's the thing though. I don't really remember what he looks like, but he didn't have a face. Imagine Slender Man, but
just like me.
Imagine Slender Man, but with like normal like human skin. You know, he didn't have hair. He didn't have a face. It was just an egg.
So like most,
on a body.
So like most gamer avatars.
Nothing about him resembled you except he sounded like you.
Oh, okay.
And I don't remember what he said either, but I do remember that he was being very confrontational, very annoying, up to the point where we actually started throwing hands.
Oh.
You know, I just got so angry to a point I just started throwing hands, man. He didn't know what was coming. It was like lightning bottled thunder coming at him right in the face.
sounds like an off-brand soda company.
Lightning Thunder bottle?
Yeah. Mountain bottle thunder.
Bottle lightning thunder. Mountain soda.
Dr. Thunder.
Soda thunder dottle snow. Dottle?
Dottle.
Dottle? What was that? No, but yeah, me and the dude, we were just going at it, man. And he was kicking he was kicking my teeth in.
Oh.
You know? He had much longer arms and legs than I did. He had the reach.
He was a lot longer than you?
So he was hitting me before I even knew what was coming. I remember one specific point in time, his arm extended, and he threw his fist at me like he was going to punch me, but his fist wrapped around the back of my head and hit me from the other side. Like it went boink, right on the other side.
Ooh.
And I was getting furious, bro. I was like, why am I letting this spaghetti-looking mother tackle me to the ground? So that's exactly what I did to him. I tackled him to the ground. And I pinned his head down to the ground to where like the side of his face was like smushed up against the ground. His face was smushed up against the ground. And it was like these animalistic instincts took over. When I pinned him to the ground, oh my God, I bit into his eye, and and
I bent him over.
I bent him over. No, I bit into his eye, and it squirted into my mouth this viscous liquid.
Oh my god.
It was so gross. You know that feeling you have like in a dream where you're running or falling and you wake up and you're kind of like in that half awake, half dreaming state, and like that feeling of running or falling continues while you're awake until you like snap out of it. You're like, "Oh, I'm in my bed or I'm in class and I am like laying in a pool of my own spittle." But yeah, it was kind of like that, but the feeling of having that viscous liquid in the back of my throat and that feeling of almost throwing up continued when I woke up.
That
So when I woke up, I was just like, uh,
that's just gross.
to do. And then I kind of snapped out. I was like, oh, wait, that was a dream. And then I just went back to sleep.
Ever had a dream where you couldn't go back to sleep?
I do, but I don't remember those. I just remember
Yeah.
being very spooked for no reason.
Have you ever had a dream where you heard something after you woke up? I've had those dreams before.
Yes.
Yes.
I woke up and I heard Minecraft noises.
Okay, well that's not what
You
I'm
know the
talking
cave
about.
noises where it's like,
Well, that's not what I'm talking about.
what? No, when do you hear the sounds after you wake up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
No, I
I
mean
woke
like
up from a dream. It's another one of those dreams I didn't remember. I woke up and I was like scared for no reason, and I heard like in the distance, that famous Minecraft sound.
oh, I've heard like maniacal laughter after waking up. I've heard that before.
Ooh, maniacal laughter.
Yeah.
You're dreaming
Because
of the Joker.
especially when you're a kid.
No, that
because
was just me.
I think it's a lot easier to dream when you're a kid because your imagination is a lot more vast when you're a kid. So when you dream,
True.
it's easier to remember.
Or maybe like I specifically on that, I would disagree. I feel like my imagination right now is vastly superior to me when I was younger.
Well,
But I mean, I get what you mean. It's not imagination, it's thoughts. Your thoughts are more active when you're younger.
well, actually, I would say because they did a study of kids. They did a
That's it.
study
That's the whole
about
study. They just studied kids.
they
That's
did
it.
a study about child psychology.
Who was the person behind the study? V. Weinstein?
No, a few years ago,
Oh no, he's not a. Never mind.
and
Bad joke on two accounts.
I was a few years ago, and they studied how children's imagination, but their ability to explain things that otherwise wouldn't be able to be explained, and they pinned that against usual adults. So the control groups were adults
Explaining things that
against
can't be
kids.
explained.
So
Like
they
me.
showed like it's kind of like an ink blot test or those Rorschach tests, right? Where it's like random shapes or random colors,
Yeah,
and they
I'm
tried
just.
to explain them, or
Yeah.
each person that was tested said what it might look like,
Mm-hmm.
and the children said so much more, and they were so more descriptive of what it might be than the adults.
What the heck was that?
So I think that has something to do with one, how weird your dreams are. I think how weird someone's dreams are, for me, actually stays the same or at least gets worse when you get older. But the frequency of dreams has definitely diminished since I've gotten older.
True. Yes, entirely. Or not like the frequency of how often you remember your dreams.
Yeah, that's
honestly.
true.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like the only times I remember dreams are days where I either wake up and go back to sleep, or days where I like only get like a few hours of sleep. Because that's how I've heard that's how you lucid dream. Is I looked up a YouTube tutorial on it.
How do you do that?
It's essentially where you purposefully like wake yourself up in the middle of sleep, and then you're kind of like hazy when you wake up in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
So you try to pretend yourself like doing something, and then you essentially like force yourself to do that thing in like a dream state, and that's how you lucid dream. At least for people who don't do it as
Well, then I
easily,
lucid dream a lot more than I thought I did.
because lucid dreaming is essentially just knowing that you're dreaming, but having the ability to control your dream.
Yeah, I've actually, I didn't even know that was how you lucid dream. I did that
Well,
so much when I was younger.
it might be BS, but I don't know.
Maybe, but I actually have that exact experience, except it's a little different. So it's not an exact experience.
Yeah,
It's similar. I would when I was younger, I'd have dreams here and there. Like it was more often than now, but it's still not often. But I would have moments in the time where I would be dreaming, and I I'd just be immobile. I'd be like looking around, watching all the wacky, amazing things that are going on, and I try to like interact with it, but I can't move. So what I do is that I'd like try to forcibly like, it's like trying to push a concrete block. It's just so hard to move your muscles. It's like rigor mortis set it almost. Like I'm trying to move, like I'm gripping my hand, and then as the actions become easier, I actually start to wake up. Like
yeah.
I wake up while doing that action
That
I'm trying
actually
to
is kind
do.
of cool because
It's like I'm trying to grip my hand in the dream, and then I wake up doing that
yeah,
gripping motion. I'm like, well, I know I was in
yeah.
the middle of. Ah,
The only dreams that I can remember, period, whether I'm a kid or now, are dreams where I'm not able to do what I want to do. Even if you get a dream scenario that's like favorable. Like when I was a kid, I always wanted to be Spider-Man because we grew up
oh my
watching the
god,
Spider-Man
yeah, me
movies. We
too.
grew up watching like the shows and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And
Spider-Man
so
was the coolest
I'd
anything.
have dreams where I was Spider-Man, but I couldn't do anything. Like either like one web shooter wouldn't work, so I'd only be able to use one, or
It's
I
like,
wouldn't be
yeah,
able to climb on walls. I'd be like Spider-Man 2 scenario kind of, where I'd be
yeah.
Spider-Man, but I couldn't really do the
You were
things that he
Spider-Man, but you
does.
weren't Spider-Man.
Yeah,
You
which is
couldn't spider.
extremely
Yeah, it's like
frustrating.
the knowledge of.
Or like,
It's the knowledge of being that person, but you can't do anything. It was
yeah,
like, how do you know? I
yeah,
just
or
knew.
just in general, you realize that you are dreaming, and you try to be like, okay, I want this to happen, and you open your eyes and nothing happens,
Exactly.
and you're like,
It's like trying
why?
to wish, but in your
How
dreams,
in the
and nothing
world?
happens.
How does it?
This is a ripoff,
Yeah.
dude.
Also,
I can't get whatever I want in my
ever
dreams. What a
ever
scam.
been like in a dream where you're like, I could have a lot of fun, but what if I'm not dreaming though? I've had that happen so many times where I'm like sitting in a dream and I'm like 99% sure that I'm in a dream, but if I do anything, like I try to fly or something, end up like dying. It's like I don't know if I'm actually gonna like wake up, and that's
Oh
kind
my
of
God.
scary.
Yeah, the feeling of not knowing whether or not you're
But
dreaming.
I was
Inception
like, but I
type
don't know
stuff.
how to test it. I've heard that a good test is if you think that you're in a dream, but you're not sure, you try to bite your tongue, because obviously when you're dreaming, most of the time,
Your tongue falls
if you
off and
try to
turns
do
to a
anything
worm.
that is painful, like prick your finger or something like that,
Pinch
you won't
yourself.
feel any pain.
Yeah.
You might feel a
That's
little
a
bit of
famous
like
one. You literally just pinch
you
yourself.
might feel a little bit of a tingly sensation, but you might not. You probably not gonna. You're not gonna feel any pain.
Yeah.
And that's why people like pinch themselves or do stuff like that.
Is there a dream that stands out among the rest?
There was
Like your number one dream.
There was
10
one
dreams.
that I used to have, one nightmare I used to have when I was a kid, that I would have almost every single day for like a month straight.
I think I know what it is. Is the one about the wolves?
I think that was.
Or is
one
that
of them.
Mom?
It was the same.
Did you have the wolf dream? Or was that Mama?
Yeah, but it was the same kind of dream where
you're being chased or something?
we were either at the house or like
Which one?
outside. The one in Selma, the one I like, the smaller one.
Oh,
The
in
one
your
we
dream?
were, yeah, either
Okay.
we were there physically, but also like because I was very
Oh.
young. I was like 5 or 6 years old,
Okay.
and it was the same nightmare where I would be running around the house and something would be chasing me. What would be chasing me would change, but the concept of the dream would still stay the same, in that there would always be some place where I would get to where I would be safe, like whether it be like a building or like a, I don't know, like a certain spot
Yeah.
of where I was, where I'd try to get there, but I never could. and there's always be something that's chasing me. Like I remember one thing.
Does it like
It would
actually
be a
end up
wolf or
getting
something
you?
like
Or
that, like a wolf or a werewolf.
yeah,
Or one thing was an animatronic fox that always chased
you
me
dreamt of
around.
Foxy?
That which was that did mess me up because and it would like it was like bite me like on my left forearm, and when it bit me, I'd feel like this tingly sensation, and I'd hear maniacal laughter, and that's how I would wake up, and I'd still hear it even
Ooh,
after I wake up. I'll never be able to go back to sleep.
ooh, that's not good.
So that's
That's
how.
oh
Yeah,
my god, that's like some. That's like some. What is that? That's like some Freddie Mercury. No, not Freddie Mercury.
Freddy Krueger. You mean?
Freddy Krueger. That's some.
Yeah.
That's some Friday. Is it Friday the 13th?
Yes, that's what it is.
That's some Friday the 13th type stuff. You
Yeah.
wake up and he's just looming over you
Well,
with
eventually they
his
stopped.
big meaty claws.
Yeah, eventually they stopped, but I think I don't really have nightmares.
When you laid off the Pepsi.
Yeah, I don't really have any nightmares anymore, honestly, because I've heard that.
Was there any correlation, or did they just stop, or like correlation with like you stopping doing, or you started doing something and then
I
they
think
stopped, or is
I
it
think
just
they
you
just stopped eventually.
just out of nowhere?
Yeah. Usually I wouldn't have nightmares after watching like scary movies or stuff like that. I'd be scared like going to bed, like of the dark.
That used to
But I
happen to
also
me.
heard that this also might not be true, but I heard that it is easier to have nightmare type dreams if you go to bed angry than if you go to bed feeling like scared or paranoid.
I've heard of this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I feel like that
it
might have
doesn't.
been it. I
I
might
don't.
have had
That
like
doesn't really
something.
happen to
I
me.
might have like held something in or something. I don't know. That was
Maybe.
just
Probably at
anger.
me.
Yeah. I mean, I got
Yeah.
angry very easily, but I also didn't release any of it.
Yeah, you
Because
were
I
a
didn't have
bitch.
anything to do. I didn't play sports. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything physically to like as an outlet. So I just kind of kept it, I guess. And I think a lot of
Yeah.
kids do that. Either that or they just have no filter,
Yeah.
which
Shoot, what was I gonna say?
yeah.
Well, it doesn't. I was gonna say something related to what we just said, but back to the topic of the kid study. I was gonna say I imagine like one of the kids running for like an ink blot test, and I just imagine him for like every ink blot they gave him. He was like, "What does this look like?" He always says, "That looks like Batman." He just brings out another one. What does this look like? Oh, that also looks like Batman. What does that look like? Oh, that's also Batman. It's just they all look like Batman
Yeah,
because
and
ink
that
blots are always black.
yeah, that's true. And that kind of
Or maybe like
that
another
kind
kid
of
is
does look
like,
like.
"Oh, it
Ever
looks
had
like
like
you
a
just
kid?
let a squid pee on it."
Ever
or
heard like a
something.
kid? Yeah. Well, it's kind of what it is. But
Looks like a squid peed on
it's
it.
kind of like in terms of like a kid's imagination. Have ever like kids looking up at clouds? I mean, there's
Cloud
there's
watching.
bound to be a few.
I used to
few
love cloud watching.
Yeah, it used to be bound to be like a few times where we were like watching the clouds, like going outside. We'd tell mom or dad like, "Hey, you know what this looks like?" And it's like it looks like
It looks like a
Spider-Man.
cloud.
It's like Spider-Man. It's just a normal cloud.
It looks like a cotton ball.
Yeah, and they'd have to
It
play
looks like a
along.
pile of
They have to play
snow.
along like it actually looks
It looks like Dad's dandruff.
that would be realistic. But like a lot of times, kids, whatever they have in their mind, they rearrange things in their mind to look like what they're thinking of. And I feel like that is part of a kid's imagination, which
Yeah.
is, I think,
It's
partly
kind of
why.
like the
have
Mandela
their
effect
such
for
vivid
like older
dreams.
people.
Yeah.
It's like kids like rearrange their thoughts to fit what they're thinking to be like in the real world,
Yeah.
or like vice versa.
Mhm.
It's like with older people, the Mandela effect is like, do you remember whether or not the Monopoly man had a monocle? Did he?
No, I don't think he did.
Also, do you remember whether or not it was called the Berenstein or the Berenstein Bears?
I always said Berenstein Bears.
I kind of switched between the two. It was like Berenstein, Berenstein. It was kind of like
It depends like where it's
it was
from.
kind of like when you kept saying Bojangles or Bone Jangles.
Yeah.
It was like we know what it's called, but we understand based off the context clues.
Yeah.
We don't care. Yeah, you figure it out.
Yeah. And
you did.
Mhm.
You figured it out.
Mhm.
Also, it's not red lobster
Oh yeah, I used to have
and pupcakes.
terrible time Yeah, I used to have a
Pupcakes.
terrible time like anything with like
we used to
food.
bully you before, like we do with mom now.
Yeah.
Like red lobster and
Or
pupcakes. It's like
or what
mom
was it?
says, "Burr,
Or stop it. I'd say stop it.
stop it."
I think I
No, that
got
was
that. I
mom.
got all that from mom. Yeah,
Yeah, you
because
got that all that from
well,
mom.
mom made fun of me for saying it so much that she started saying it like that,
Yeah,
and so now we make fun of her for saying it instead of me.
we just make fun of her for being southern. That's it.
Yeah.
We grew up just as southern as. No, we didn't.
No. I was
I
gonna
was
say.
about to say we don't. Our mom and dad, or dad was. Mom's very southern. Yeah, like the way she talks is super southern
Not now.
drawl.
Not now. Like when she was young, probably, but not
No, she
now.
still does.
Mm.
Butter, stop it. What was the one thing she said?
I think we exaggerated a lot, but honestly,
Curtains.
in terms of
Lines.
legitimate like going down south, mom was definitely like more northern south than
I think she
south.
just grew out of it. I guess
Yeah, I think so.
because of us, we're not.
Because I remember her telling us that she sounded more southern when she was younger.
Yeah,
Yeah, because she grew up in a smaller town. As you know.
yeah.
Yeah, but
It's just like too. Oh God, shutting down.
but yeah, speaking, going back on track of dreams,
Yeah.
I feel like as I got older, in terms of nightmares, I wouldn't have frightening nightmares, but more,
Frightmares.
but more so scenarios that I would hate to happen. Ever had like dreams where you felt like you lived like your entire life? You lived a lifetime, like kind of like a Narnia scenario.
A Nario?
Nario.
Narnia Mario?
Narnia scenario.
Let's go. The epic crossover no one ever asked for.
But it's kind of like a Narnia thing where you live your entire life, but it just was like a few hours. I've
Yeah.
always had that's
I've not had that.
I've had dreams like that where I've like
I've
to, like,
had
sit
dreams
in the
that
bed.
felt like they lasted really long, but
like-
not like my entire life.
Ever had like like dreams where like something bad happened and like you were like real angry or like really sad?
Yeah, that
you
dream I
woke
just
up-
mentioned. That's
and
one
you woke up-
example.
and you woke up really angry or really sad, and like whatever happened didn't happen, but you're still like feeling the effects of your dream.
Yeah, I had a dream where I died and I ended up getting super sad about it. I was like, I can't believe I died. And I was like, oh wait, I'm still here.
Yeah.
It was like that. It was like the most narcissistic dream I've ever had. I was
Yeah.
like, I can't believe I killed me.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's very rare nowadays to one remember a dream, but also have a good dream. It's
Oh yeah, truly.
I think a lot of that has to do with sleep patterns. I have a very
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah.
It's kind of like what ties into like real life, you know. What's more likely, you to remember a good thing out of a series of bad things, or a bad thing out of a series of good things?
the latter.
Oh yeah, the second one. I forgot what that meant for a sec. But yeah, it's true. It's like you could be having the best day, but one bad thing happens, and you're like, "Oh, this sucks. This is the worst day."
Yeah.
But yeah, I bet it's like the same thing for dreams. I bet most of the dreams that I had are like super nice dreams, but it kind of reminds me of the dream I used to had when I was a kid. It was a one-off dream. It wasn't like the thing you had where it was like something chasing you. This was a dream I had one time, but I remember it. Excuse me. I remember it still to this day. It is number one, top 10, number one dream that I remember. Probably because it's one of the very few that I actually do. Now, for those of you at home who don't know, I should add a little bit of a context. Do you know what 321 Penguins is?
Yes. Oh, I remember you telling me this. Yeah.
Yes, 321 Penguins. It is a show. For those of you who don't know, it is a show made by the creators behind VeggieTales. Big idea. And it follows these two kids. I don't know their names. Mike and Kelly. That's not their names. And these four penguins. I do remember their names. Let's remember. It's Zigil, Midgel, Fidgel,
Kevin.
Kevin. That's it. That's the son of a bitch that I need to remember. Sigil, Midgel, Vigil. Sigil,
Be
Fidgel.
careful. Be careful.
Sigil, Fidgel. No. Zit. All right, you lost. Zidgel? Zid. Hold on. What'd I say? Zidgel? Midgel. Vigil. Vigil. No, not Vigil. Zidgel, Midgel, Fidgel, Kevin. That's it. Zidgel, Midgel, Fidgel, Kevin. Those four and the two kids. It follows those guys. And basically what it is that these two kids go to their grandma's house and their grandma has these four porcelain dolls. And the kids have a spaceship. So, and they get to a point where they're so bored, they make the only logical conclusion that any sane human would do is that they take the porcelain penguin dolls that anyone has and puts them in their spaceship. Zoom, zoom, away they go. And then what happens? Then what happens is you listening? You listening real close? You listening real nice? You listening real tight? You listening real tight? What happens is that these kids, these dumbass little kids, they drop the spaceship with the dolls inside. And what happens is that, you guessed it, it comes to life. The spaceship. Zoom, zoom. Except it's not the kids who's doing the zooming, it's the spaceship itself. Away it goes. And what it does is that it takes them, it shrinks them down, and then it kidnaps the kids. It kidnaps thems, the kids. And then the whole show is basically just following them on these wacky adventures, all while learning this biblical lesson about how not to lie or how to like be patient or whatever. Like there was literally you remember this episode was literally an episode where they go to a planet of vacuums where they're all in line to take turns looking through a telescope. And the telescope's looking at this meteor that's coming towards them because they're all impatient. And no, it's not. It's the planet hurtling towards the sun because they're impatient. And as soon as they learn patience, the planet just halts and goes back to where it was. Like it's what you'd expect from like an early 2000s kids Bible show, but it was fun. I remember it being fun. And on the topic of the dream, enough context was added to this, I assume. Back on the topic of the dream, what I had was that I was one of the kids. No, I wasn't. I was my own kid. But I was in the ship with the four penguins. Zigil, Midgel, Fidgel, and Kevin. I remember them again. And I was basically given this tour. It was like another one of those dreams where you can't really move, but I was being moved for. I was being toured around the ship. I was like showed the captain's quarters, like all the different rooms of the ship, and I met the penguins themselves. Zigil, he was really nice. He introduced me. He was like, "Hi, I'm Captain Zigil," and then Midgel, the pilot. He was like, "Hello, I'm Mitchell." And then there was Fidgel, the onboard scientist. He was like, "Hello, I'm Fidgel. Nice to meet you." And then I introduced Kevin, that dirtbeach son of a bitch. I walked up to him, shook his hand, I looked him in the eye, and he bit my head off. Swear to God. It was like Pennywise. It was like Pennywise when his face like transforms into this like worms from Tremors looking dude. His teeth got all pointy for some reason. His beak unhinged and then just chopped my head off. And then I awoke in this like sense of what? It's the weirdest thing that I remember to this day. Is just the craziest thing.
Can't trust penguins, man.
Yeah.
No matter who they are.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember
The Pennywise penguins.
I don't remember having any
Penguin
dreams
wise.
that weird.
Of course you don't.
Yeah.
Because I'm better at you at
especially when
having
I was a
dreams.
kid. Yeah, even for like a kid, I feel like my dreams are pretty tame. Yeah.
I do too. It was I actually there was very recently I was trying to actually better my dreams, you know. I would like eat better, I would exercise simply so that I could get better dreams and try to get lucid dreams. Not real. Hello? Someone trying to get in? Is that housekeeping? No, that's our dogs. They're trying to get in. They're hearing us having so much fun, and they're trying to get in. But yeah, you're getting a little quiet over there, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm just trying to pay attention to what you're saying, cause
Yeah, no, that's you just whenever you have anything to say, just hop in at any time.
yeah. Well, I already said what all I have to say.
That's
with
kind of
my
like what
dreams.
was happening in the last episode. I'm gonna try not like bring up our previous episodes as topics in and of itself because I feel like that would be a little narcissistic and weird. But just to like note the thing that was happening last episode that I noticed was that it was like you were not like jumping in with things to say enough, and I was doing it way too much. You know what I mean? Like I was trying to do it to like pull up your slack.
Well, in terms of topics, I didn't have much to contribute to that. So when you're not really prepared with the topics, it's hard to come up with things to say in between what you're saying. But in terms of dreams, I have a lot to say because everyone dreams. Everyone, especially as kids.
Everyone dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You might remember it, but
the thing, like you said, everyone dreams is just trying to find what. It's like with having a podcast in general. It's just trying to find what everyone else hasn't already said.
Yeah. I mean, even when it comes to the topic as journal, is this like I think everyone's thought about or talked about something like the dreams that they've had, or like an interesting dream they had one time, especially when they were a kid.
Yeah. Well,
but the difference is saying it in front of a camera with a mic on.
Yeah, I guess so. But the thing is, like, in terms of like all, there we go, saying like a lot. In terms of just all the media that I consumed from when I started watching YouTube to now, I don't remember people talking about their dreams that often, or ever, really.
Who?
Well, all of like the media that I've been watching,
Well, actually,
there's Markiplier, Jacksepticeye.
There's a podcast that
and all these like random dudes who I've been watching, and like these little clips here and there. Very, very, very few of them ever actually talk about the dreams. Not I mean like dreams like their aspirations of what they want to do, like those kinds of dreams. I mean like dreams that they've had when they were sleeping. That's what I mean. Because I feel like a billion of these guys is like, my dream is to, well, you're a cashier at McDonald's. Figure it out.
I can name two podcasts I've listened to that talks about dreams. One recently, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. Jay Schlatt, the Twitch streamer, he has a podcast with Slimesicle, and I think it's. I forgot what his name was. He was some other guy
with Swagger Souls and
no, that's the Misfits podcast.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was.
The name of the
podcast
is he's been on there, but it's not his podcast.
Okay.
But it's called Chuckle Sandwich.
Oh, okay.
And they had a bit recently where they talked about the dreams they had.
Oh yeah.
And even one of them, I think Jay Shot said that he had dreams where, because he has a dream journal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've heard that it does help people remember what their dreams are, and it helps people actually lucid dream more frequently.
Yeah.
But I'm never gonna try to put enough effort to consistently
me
write
neither.
in a dream journal.
It just feels like a lot of effort for a lot of nothing. Because in the end, dreams are dreams.
Yeah,
they don't really. Other than your mood, sometimes to a minimal extent, dreams don't really do that much for you.
Well,
unless you're like a wizard and you have premonitions. Other than that,
well, there's a reason why you dream. There's a reason people dream. There's a lot of reasons why people have multiple
actually
functions.
that's the thing. Maybe there's like a reason behind it, but
I think part of it is
what's the practical reason behind dreams? Is there a practical reason to why you dream.
Part of it might be just experiencing. Well, it might just be an effect of your brain being active while your body is trying to sleep. But also, it might be part of. I mean, there are two meanings of dreams, right? Part of it's like a dream is what you want to aspire to, or your like fanatical aspirations. But
Yeah.
also, a
Mhm.
dream is like when your mind being active during sleep. So
REM
like,
sleep.
what do they have in common? Those two words. Well, dreams.
Aspirations and REM sleep.
A lot of times, people's dreams are their fantasies.
I'm so
So
hungry,
sometimes
dude.
people's dreams are ways for them to live out their fantasies without actually doing it in real life. You know, because there are a lot of things people want to do that they never get around to.
True.
But I think
Yeah.
all of it is like a lot of it's. Also, you can learn things from dreams. I've had dreams where, I've looked it up afterward, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like even like the color. Like I've had times where everything's shaded in purple. I looked up what that might have meant. Online. I'm like,
What
oh,
does it
that's kind
mean?
of cool. I don't know. Forgot.
Well, you can look it up.
I think it has something to do with yeah, I don't know, I forgot.
Still hear me from this?
But in terms of a dream journal, I still don't find myself ever having one because ever done something in a dream where you're like, I'd never do that in real life. Ever.
Yeah, like
Or
bite a guy's eye
or
out.
had feelings in a dream that you would never have in real life. I feel like that's part of it too, is relieving stress because you do things in a dream that you might be ashamed of doing in real life, or these things that are just odd, not just like bad, but it's odd. And like, why would I ever do that in real life? I think that might be part of it too, because again, your brain is still active. So maybe it's just the way of your body releasing certain things that you just would never think of doing in real life. You know, so you don't get that all pent up.
Yeah, that's true. It's ways to like relieve yourself of like pent up thoughts and
Emotions.
emotions.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's sometimes like, you know, like sometimes the only time you cry is in a dream. I've had that too. Where I've cried in a dream and I've like woke up and I'm like my eyes were wet. I'm crying. I'm like, that's weird. I've had
That's
that too.
interesting. Another thing
But-
I haven't really experienced in a dream was crying.
Yeah.
Like I felt like a very large spectrum of emotions, but sadness
Yeah.
is one of them. To the point of crying, no.
Yeah. And that's another reason why
That's interesting though.
That's
Very
another reason
interesting.
why I would never have a dream journal is because I try to be introspective in the things that I do, sometimes to a degree where I shouldn't. But I think it would be kind of weird if someone were to look at a journal of me logging my dreams and be like, March 3rd, 2021. I tackled someone to the ground and bit their eyes out. It was delicious or something like that.
No, it wasn't. It was. Don't you try to gaslight me, dude. That was the worst experience I've had recently.
But I mean, yeah.
Right next to anything that happened in real life.
But I feel like, you know,
Actually, what happened in real life that was worse than in a dream biting someone's eye out? Like if hold on, actually. You know what? Never mind. Let's not entertain that thought. I looked up what pink means. Pink is associated with love, joy, sweetness, happiness, kindness, and affection. It's possible if you recently found the love of your life, you're healing from something with love if you see this color in your dream. Most negatively, pinks can represent immaturity or weakness, even more so when it comes to love. Bless you. You are excused. What is the spiritual meaning of pink? Represents the inner journey to the heart. It is the steps we take to connect with our spiritual sense of love and compassion. What does it mean to dream of pink clothes? Signify arrival of a baby girl in the family. Are you expecting?
no, I've never. It wasn't pink. It was purple.
Oh, I looked up. Hold on. PURPEL? No, LE.
Purple.
Purple. Color purple in a dream represents neutrality. Net neutrality. Dave was dreaming of net neutrality. David's a Jeep pie. We found him. He was dreaming of net neutrality. Or powerlessness. When you see in a dream, it can represent a negative situation that has been neutralized by a positive situation, or a positive situation that has been neutralized by a negative situation.
That might be it
Ah.
because in the dream it was one of those. It was. I remember exactly what it was. It was the night. I think we rented X-Men Origins Wolverine
Good
from
movie.
Redbox.
Great movie. The best movie.
Yeah, I remember even as a kid, I was very easy to love comic book movies. I even didn't mind. Well, actually, no, that's a
True.
lie.
Me
only
too.
only two comic book movies I remember hating as a kid was the Daredevil movie in 2003 with Ben Affleck. Watched it a lot, but I didn't like it.
Wait a sec. What does that mean?
Daredevil movie
Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck.
in 2003.
Oh, I was thinking of Deadpool, but that's not it at all.
No, Daredevil's the blind guy.
Daredevil's the blind
That's
guy.
true.
Exactly.
And the X-Men Origins Wolverine. Those are the two movies I watched as a kid for the first time and did not like them.
To be honest, I kind of liked the X-Men movies, but
yeah, of course,
solely
pretty good.
Solely for Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
The hugest of Ackman.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, he's a great actor. I loved him in Logan's literally the only good X-Men movie. Every one of them is just subpar. Well, first Class was fun.
Yeah, First Class was pretty good. I liked First Class.
Yeah, First Class was fun.
But
yeah, Logan tops that by a long shot.
I like the first X-Men movie. It's pretty decent. The first two.
That might be the Mandela effect kicking in, dude, because I saw that recently. I saw a review, specifically, I saw a review of that.
I saw both. Oh, a review of it.
Well, yeah.
Watched the whole thing,
Well,
bro.
no, it was a review that had clips of the movie in it.
No, I watched the whole thing. That's the best way to revisit a movie. You don't watch someone else's opinion of a movie. You watch it yourself. Come up with your own opinion.
No, the thing it's nostalgia.
It definitely wasn't as good. I remember it being good.
He don't.
That man doesn't like anything.
He loves so many things.
Okay.
He just has. He's not the freaking I hate everything guy.
That's true. Well, actually, no. He had
nostalgia critic actually has unbiased opinions.
Even
about
IHG compliments things.
Yeah. Like the Trolls movie. He recently reviewed the Trolls movie, and he said that he liked it, but as a kids movie. It's not a good movie by most means.
The Trolls movie?
Yeah.
The one like the newer one with Justin Timberlake?
Yeah.
That movie was terrible.
It was fun.
No.
As a kids movie. Like, yeah, it's not a good movie, but it's not a bad movie. It's enjoyable. It's fun. I like to see colorful little gremlins bouncing around singing pop songs.
I guess it was okay.
To an extent. But yeah.
And I watched it as a kid.
Well, it came out when we were like in our recent years. Hold on.
That came out like over 3 years ago, dude.
It came out.
I was like 13. I was a kid.
Let's find out. 2016.
Yep.
I was almost an adult.
That was definitely more than 3 years. I was
Trolls World Tour. Let's see what this is about.
I was 13. I was 13 when that thing came out.
What's up with this one? 6.1 stars on IMDb.
Oh, Trolls. Oh, yeah. Trolls World Tour was the first movie to have a premiere that was fully digital.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
So it made history in that regard, but in no other regard. I heard that movie was bad. But then again, it was just a review. I heard it was just like a rehash of the Infinity arc from the Avengers. So like,
really?
Yeah.
I can kind of tell why, because it's like the Queen of Rock or something tries to gather all the strings to take over the world or something.
That's more than I know about the movie.
When the Queen of Hard Rock Trolls tries to take over the Troll Kingdoms, Queen Poppy and her friends try different ways to save all the trolls. I bet that is so unintuitive of what is actually happening. A lot of people. Tressela, Leslie, Dickory, Guy Diamond, Chanel, Tiny Diamond, Queen Essence. These names are from a movie called Trolls, isn't it? Trolls Holiday. Awesome. I'm stopping the review right now. All right. Well, um, we're actually getting close to an hour now. We're at the 55-minute mark. So Dreams is done. Awesome. Let's actually do a quick one. Hold on. Let's do a quick little kind of deja vu.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of ties into this deja vu. It I deja vu is weird.
Yeah. Ever heard of like the
That's
theory?
it. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Ever heard of the theory of deja vu?
The theory? What's
Yeah,
that about?
it's like a
Isn't
parallel
it like a
universe
theory where it like ties into reincarnation or something dumb?
Well, at that too, but it's also like a parallel universe theory, where it's if it's something that a parallel you has done in like a separate parallel universe, then you get this feeling of I've done this before, but you don't recall doing it
if it's
before.
parallel, then how come I've already done it? Because if it's parallel, then how would I have done something that a parallel universe to me is doing as well?
Not is doing, has done.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
That's possible.
How can I experience something that has been
If there
done
are
if it's currently
if
been
there are
done already-
multiple parallel
currently being
universes
done?
or infinite parallel universes, then there is a place. Then there is like a universe where you has done something before
I has
the
done
current
something already?
Yeah.
I has already has?
Yeah, where
Hasing
the
has
where the you did something
The me has done
before
it.
you done it before. A parallel universe isn't something that's completely different. It has similarities. That's the whole point of the theory of a parallel universe.
I was just thinking like parallel universes where I guess parallel more in turn ties to like their flow through time rather than like their synchronicity. Or, like they're synced to where they're like synced up with stuff that's happening rather than it's just like every second passes by at the same rate as all the other universes. Like time, you experience time the same way.
Well,
That's what it is
like
by
if there's an infinite number of parallel universes, then there might be like, let's say tomorrow we were thinking of going to the park, but there's a you where you do go to the park, and there's a you where you're like, nah, I'll do it later, and you eventually go to the park and you
There's
do
a
some of the
universe
exact
where
same
I'm
things
dead.
you did before.
And I died at the
It
park.
also, what I'm thinking is that it
There's a
might
universe
be
where I died at the park.
deja vu might be triggered
I just
by
space before
by
street, and I know it's my time to go.
it's a
Continue.
dead meme.
It's
Anyway,
the greatest meme.
I've had
No.
instances where I had deja vu based on dreams. There was
Interesting.
one time where it was a few days before I was supposed to go to the zoo, and I envisioned myself walking down this road of bamboo to the right and left of me. I didn't know exactly where I was, but I had this image in my head of where I was, and it was very vivid. And then a few days later, it was like in third grade, we were walking down, which is near where the pandas part of the zoo, obviously. And I turned around and I looked, and it was the exact same image I saw in my dream. It's like a still image. And I told Dad about it because he was there, and I was like, that might have actually happened. I don't know, or just might have been deja vu. But
Maybe.
it was strangely maybe a little bit different than the normal deja vu, because like I told you, I remembered that dream. You usually don't remember the dreams you have, especially exactly like a still image. I usually don't have a still image of most of my dreams.
Yeah.
So maybe when you have deja vu, it might be something you dreamt of that you just don't remember, or I don't know, it may have several different causes, you know?
Yeah. Well, I don't like this topic, so we're gonna talk about another topic. Honestly, but it's one I literally just thought of right now. Memes.
Memes?
I know it's a weird topic, but I kind of want to talk about it. What is your favorite meme?
I think you
This is
asked me
kind
this
of a.
question before.
I didn't realize how weird that sounded until I said it. That's kind of like a boomer topic. It was like,
Yeah.
what is your favorite meme,
Yeah.
Sonny?
I think you've asked me this
But
question
honestly,
before also.
yeah, it was when we were. It was on a day when we were like setting everything up, and we sat down as if we were doing a podcast, but we weren't recording. We were kind of like miming.
I think I don't know. In terms of memes, it's hard to have a consistent favorite meme.
For me, it has been
Yeah, but
for
you're
like the
not
past.
normal though.
I think it was like a year, maybe 2 years, maybe three. I don't know. I don't know how long it's been out. But my favorite meme, or no, actually, you kind of go into depth with what you were saying
Well,
first.
when it comes to memes, memes are not. They're very stagnant. Oh no, they're not very stagnant.
In terms of like your favorite meme, or in like memes in general.
Yeah, memes are all over the place, like all the time. Like when in
Yeah.
terms of
Like memes are so vast and like
memes
what they can
evolve so fast.
be. I know.
And I feel
it's
like that's
great.
part of it. It's because of the type of comedy people enjoy nowadays.
Exactly.
And I don't think
I think I don't know. I'd like to think what people probably assume is that memes evolve with people's sense of humor, but what I like to think is that people's sense of humor evolve with memes.
actually
Like the kind of memes that come out, people change what they think is funny based on the memes that come out. Or here's another one, a little bit of a theory. Like kids are growing up with these age of
well, here's the thing is that is
caught it.
part of comedy is being new. Like if you hear the same joke from two different comedians or a similar joke from two different comedians, the odds of you laughing both times, if you remember that joke, are very, especially if you're hearing the same joke from like 3 or 4 or 5. So like a lot of times when it comes to memes, especially how memes used to be, it's changed now. But the thing of how memes used to be is all of them used to be very similar or exactly the same. Like a lot of them had the same.
Oh,
Like
they still are.
I've seen
They
older
still
memes
are.
where there was the same exact text but like different backdrops, and I was like, that's not really the same. But there's still up text bottom text memes, top and bottom text.
Up text.
Yeah, top and
There's
bottom
like
text
up
memes.
up and down text.
Those can still be
W
very
and
funny
S
if they're just
text.
very different. But it's also more like I don't know, like outlier memes where like you definitely
Yeah.
have never seen anything like this before, but it's also very short. Like a lot of like 3-second clips or um short gifs. Like that's something I've never understood. Or gifs.
Gifs.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's because gifs are pretty gifs are just kind of lame in general.
Yeah.
I bet it's because of like news articles or just people who are using them in place of like actual genuine human emotion,
Yeah.
like BuzzFeed.
Yeah. When used like that, they're terrible.
They're using gifs in
but
place of like actual
I'll
genuine
tell you
intelligent.
I'll tell you what is funny
like-
about gifs.
Yeah.
Making fun of gifs. That's something. When there's always something that's used in like a cringy way, there's always like an opposite where it is funny because you can make fun of it. You know what I mean?
True.
Like steamy tweets.
Exactly.
When they use like people were using gifs under there, and when they were making
The
fun of it,
Leonardo.
I genuinely
Yeah.
thought that was funny because I was like, yeah, people do stuff like that.
Yeah,
And it's so
the
weird.
irony of it. That's what's funny, not the thing being done
Yeah.
itself. It's the irony.
The thought of someone actually doing that is so funny to me.
Yeah. It's
yeah.
like, what if we just had a podcast where it's like a visual podcast, but all our reactions and what we say are entirely gifs and
Oh
memes.
my gosh. I mean,
It's like, the like one of the very first meme formats was the advice animals.
Yeah.
That's what it means. It was like a gecko with like a colorful background and then up text, bottom text.
yeah. But and I think
That's a
well, I
very
think
early
the problem
meme.
with gifs is that a lot of their anything when it begins is original, but with gifs especially, since it's clips taken from other places, its originality dried up so fast but it's still something that's used so often that it's had like no reason to just stop. You know.
Yeah. It's
So
because memes only exist as long as people can
yeah,
make different variations of it
yeah.
and
Say what
have
you want
fun with
about
it.
modern like comedy, especially in terms of YouTube and like easily digestible bits of comedy. Like there, at least like a lot of them try to be original,
Yeah.
you know, because that's part of, you know, like like shock factor of videos, you know, is that it's something that you don't expect, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's
I think
pretty
the
cool.
terms of like memes dying and like just being replaced super fast is no more apparent than on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Like like a video blows up. TikTok is literally made for um memes to be created, used up, and die as fast as possible. That's
Yeah.
what it's made for. You find a video that's funny and can be memed. You do edit, like continuing it or your reaction to it, and then that's it. You made your own take, your own variation. You had your fun, and then you move on.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's right.
TikTok is made it to where it's just like people can do it, and it's just made like you make your videos, you get your 1.5 million so views, and then you are never remembered again.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's just
And I
like
feel
it's
like
that's why memes lasted so much longer before, and in a sort of ironically, sort of satirical way, but still do exist today.
yeah.
Like advice animal memes, some of them still float around. Like I said, maybe ironically, maybe satirically, but they still exist.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like even though there are positives to this kind of comedy, I mean, there's always going to be negatives to whatever kind of comedy that you enjoy. But also, have you ever looked at any of those trying to laugh playlists on YouTube, or like
Yeah,
you laugh you die playlists or whatever? The thing is,
I
a
have a try
lot
not to laugh
the
challenge
same thing that
video.
had with like older memes. It's like the same thing with the newer ones. Is that there are like so many repeaters in a lot of these videos,
A lot of them are just the
and
same
a lot of
thing.
the playlists especially,
Yeah,
and like there are a lot of the same joke, and I feel like that I think like that same kind of comedy has like reincarnated in every era of comedy. Like even
true.
now it's TikTok.
Yeah,
The same sounds, or like the background sounds for like the same jokes for TikTok are like reused so many times, and it's like beating a dead horse.
yeah.
It's the
This
same gag.
yeah, it's kind of like how memes are reincarnated or they like evolve past the brink of like unrecognizability. It's like bringing up advice animal memes again. It's like that to what it was like a year ago. It's like E is technically an advice animal meme, just so evolved past the point of unrecognizability. It's like there's this creature, and then up text, bottom text, except it's just bottom text, and that's it. It's E. That's it. E. And then the people who are actually funny with it and like they evolve
Yeah, and I feel like that.
alongside it rather than they
Uh,
evolve the meme
I feel like
itself
that is
is what's actually stands out. Like
that
the
is the
guy who
point,
hold on,
because
I'm gonna pull up.
anyone who enjoys this kind of comedy, it's one way is very easy to make this kind of comedy because it's so short and like concentrated comedy is what I like to think of it as. Which is why it doesn't last very long, but also it's become very easily to make, and I feel like that kind of encourages people who may enjoy this kind of comedy but aren't necessarily don't have that comedic character about them to be aware enough.
No, keep talking. I'll bring this up when
Like a lot of people enjoy this comedy but they're not good at it. Like
yeah,
you have this funny
totally.
idea in your
There's so
mind.
many people. Oh my god, there's so many unfunny losers on TikTok and everywhere. They're
Yeah.
like, I'm so funny, I'm so
Like
quirky. No, you're
it's
not.
kind of
You're
like
in your mom's basement
everyone wants to be the
yelling at your
funny guy.
phone.
feel like everyone wants to be
Figure
the
it
class
out.
clown. Everyone wants to be the guy who, like, makes a funny joke that everyone laughs at.
That's
It's
why
not always the case,
that's
though.
why I don't really. This is kind of like a pro and a con for me. Is like I kind of want to dive into this kind of like I want to dive into the current of like everyone like getting on this bandwagon of a meme and then having their fun, because honestly it looks fun to like be a part of something that honestly a lot of people are having an enjoyment of. You want to be a part of that thing that everyone enjoys and has having fun with,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have your fun and then stop when it dies. That seems like fun. But it's also that kind of thing where like you're helping beat this dead horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then there's like another level that aside of that was like you where I'm like really proud of like an original joke I make where I alongside this, I don't know if I can pull up TikTok on the web browser. Hold on.
Well,
Fill in the blanks.
at least it used to be possible to pull up TikTok.
TikTok.com.
But yeah, I feel like the only reason
know if
I
I can
have
log in as a meme.
TikTok is just so other people can send me videos, because I hate sifting through all the garbage that's on there already. Because like
Well, it doesn't really change
it's
much because
either
I send you
all
garbage anyways.
yeah, well, yeah, at least it's garbage that I can. It's more concentrated, you know. At
Yeah.
least you sifted through them for me, and then whatever I like from there is I can
Yeah.
send them to somebody else, you know.
There's so many points in time where I find a video
Yeah.
and
Because I feel like for the
it's
For You page, no matter who you are, it's full of political stuff, politically driven stuff. If you like sports, it's all sports stuff. If you like, if you, or it's like all like either like almost 18-year-old, like 17-year-old guys and girls like taking their shirts off and stuff like that. Like no matter what you like on TikTok, it always has to be like full of one of the three. And or like these random unfunny comedy videos. And I feel like every now and then you look at a
I'm still
video,
listening.
you look at a video and you're like, "Oh, that's funny." But like it's like only after looking through TikTok for like over an hour. And because like in your mind, like, oh, that was so worth it having that little chuckle. But then you look at the time and you're like, oh, I've been on TikTok for like 2 hours already.
Oh my god, yeah. There's so many days where I
And that's why I
Is that
didn't
the
have
dogs
it for
again?
so long. I think so. That's why I didn't have it for so long.
figure it out. Yeah. Hold on. Quick intermission. Short. I want to try something.
I'm getting ripped tonight. R.I.P. that.
Connection terminated. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth.
Not funny, but the test has been proven. All right. I just want to see if I could screen record with a different audio output, so I'm not. Okay, good. We're synced. All right, so now we can pull up the thing that I was talking about, where I'm this joke I'm very proud of. This original joke that I'm proud of. 601 views! Yay! All right, this is what I'm talking about.
This is yours.
This is mine. I don't know if
Have
you
you
saw
ever
this
had-
yet. But yeah, this is it. Oh, there it goes.
Have you ever had those moments at around 1:43 a.m. where you just have the strong urge and desire to consume a double portion of hot chocolate? Yeah, neither do I. Have you ever had
Not the greatest joke, but it's an original joke, and I'm proud of it. And a lot of people seem to like it too. A lot of comments, a lot of views. And
those moments?
makes me happy. Shut up, me. Yeah, it's kind of just along the lines of comedy and what memes are for. It's just no real purpose other than just another way to make people happy and lighten their spirits for a millisecond or two.
Yeah. And I feel like no matter, it's kind of like the same line of taking the idea of someone's joke and then using it. Whenever you discover that someone used,
As long as you do it and you
even
like,
if it looks like it's the original audio, if you find out that it's not, or like you look at a clip and it's mimicking what that audio is supposed to be doing, I feel
Yeah.
like there's some form of
A lot of people who
wouldn't
are
say
just copying
I wouldn't say
instead of like
respect,
adding
but
to it.
it's kind of like that. It's kind of the layer of respect that you just lose instantly
Yeah.
because it's not your idea.
Just
It's not your
no
bit.
effort. Low effort, just copying what other people doing instead of
Yeah.
adding onto it and making and like adding onto the joke. Instead, you're just
Yeah, and I feel like
regurgitating what someone else has
social
already
media
done.
is good in that it allows people who genuinely have that comedic talent to use it as a platform, but it also
Breeds a
is
lot
terrible.
of losers.
Yeah, terrible in that just like any
Unfunny.
either a middle-aged deadbeat
losers.
dad, cringy parents, or any type of 17-year-old who doesn't have a girlfriend,
Trying to be
boyfriend.
cool. Trying too much to be cool.
trying
Because
to
that's the
not
thing.
trying to be cool.
When you're young,
not trying
when
to
you're
be
young
cool
and you're
or
trying
funny,
to be cool, that's fine. It's just trying too hard. It's pushing that.
not
It's
necessarily.
just pushing that limit to where it's like, it's kind of
I don't
nice,
think
almost cute. You're trying, and then it's like,
I don't
you
think it's
should
necessarily
never do
trying
that
to be
again.
cool or
Just delete
funny
it.
per se. It's just trying to get views or just be popular.
That too.
If you go through anything,
That's kind of along the lines
go
of like
through
the
any
cringy
venue,
loser who
whether
just copies
go
what
through any
everyone
venue,
else
whether
does.
it be TikTok or any form of social media or the entertainment industry as a whole, just with the notion of trying to get popular or trying to get money is definitely not a way to go about it. Whether you're naturally talented at all or not, which is terrible because if most of the people on this platform have no visible talent or they have just like no visible like effort they put into anything that they do, it doesn't seem like they generally want to like make people laugh or make people feel better. It's just like, I want people to think that I'm cool.
Yeah.
I want people to feel sad because of how cool I am.
I am very upset. I'm very upset
With who?
with just my situation right now. I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry.
I could eat
but
definitely.
but
Wow.
it is currently 11:21.
That's right.
It's almost 11:30. It's almost midnight. And that means that there's quite literally nothing open right now. Nothing open that
That's true.
delivers.
And before I start Waffle House, we got IHOP for freaking breakfast. That's right. I would still eat IHOP.
That's great. You know what I could do though? You know what I could do though?
Dude, that's what
I
you should have
could drive up.
got.
I'll drive up to Cookout. Would you want Cookout?
Yes, of course.
I'll drive up to
bro.
Cookout after this. I'm down.
Yeah,
Totally.
If you never had Cookout,
Then you
Good
don't
for
live in
you.
North Carolina. Simply.
yeah.
Cookouts are littered. Cookout to North Carolina is like Tim Hortons to Canada. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
No, Tim Hortons is more like
Donuts.
McDonald's, but
Tim Hortons is like Krispy Kreme and
same
Dunkin' Donuts.
same
in
difference.
one. Like it's everywhere.
It's just what the
Yeah.
name implies. It's just like
Yeah.
burgers, hot dogs, and variety of the such.
Does Waffle
What you'd
House
find at
does
a
Waffle
Cookout?
House deliver?
I would imagine so,
Mm.
but I don't want to because then I have to pay a delivery fee, and that's just extra money that I'm not willing to buy because I'm not willing to spend because
Yeah. But I would love some Cookout.
I'm still being very frugal right now.
That's true.
Money has been tighter
It's been
tighter than a
tight.
virgin. It's been tight. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. That was a good joke.
No, it wasn't.
Everyone laugh right now
Right when
in
you
the
said,
comments.
Right
Put
when
down
you,
haha.
Right when you said tight.
Right
Right when you said tight. You know what, Josh? And you know what, Josh? I think we need to have a code for when, because sometimes when I can tell you're about to make a joke, I can definitely tell. Because
I like take
I
those
told
pauses
I
in
told you're
between.
gonna make that. I knew you were gonna make that joke before you said it. So I think we need to have a code for each other when we're about to make bad jokes.
Oh, well, then that ruins the flow.
But
I
should
think we
be
just
like
need to make those like
pineapple.
peaches. But no, I think no. I kind of get what you're doing. It just ruins the flow. I think what we could do is just make those
You know what also
little
ruins the flow?
hints less subtle, like what I did I assume what you notice is that I was in
Yeah,
the middle of
that's
saying
true.
it, and then I went back and started again. I just
That's
need to
true.
make it more apparent so you're like, wait, hold on. What are you going to say?
That's true.
Exactly. But that was a good joke. Another joke I'm proud of, and I won't turn back on unless I listen to this again.
Yeah.
Probably. Future me is very critical of present me.
Well, so is luckily anybody.
And present me is very critical of past me. I hate what I did. No, seriously. Don't you ever have those moments in time where you look back as a kid and like the things you do or say, and you just want to shrivel up into a black hole and stop existing?
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
Anybody?
Like when it. Remember when we found out how. Remember when we found where we discovered the word fuck? Remember? We were just
Yeah.
dancing around the front yard. This was many, many moons ago.
It
We
was
were just
in ch-
dancing
It was
around the
also
front
in
yard.
church, nonetheless.
It was.
Remember?
It was.
It was
Was
the
it?
whole day we were saying it. Yeah, and we went to church.
The
that
whole
day.
day we were
It
trying.
was Saturday.
We were just.
Saturdays went to the church.
We were just
yeah.
doing random girly things, and we were just trying to find words that rhymed with duck.
Truck,
Truck,
Suck.
luck, suck,
Canuck.
Knuckles from Misadventures of Flapjack.
It's true.
Canuck.
Canuck.
And then of course we inevitably landed on
That word.
exactly
And
the
we thought we invented a new word
we thought we did
that was strangely fun to say.
strangely.
Yes.
Exactly.
So that we did
Oddly familiar too.
what we did for the entire day is that we just started spinning around, making ourselves dizzy while screaming that word
You know, as kids do.
to each other. Yeah. Essentially,
Just-
we made a language out of nothing but.
We look like we have taken many of something that wasn't good, and we were just lunatics for until Destiny came out.
Yeah.
Was it Destiny or
Well,
Dad?
yeah, it was Destiny at first.
It was Destiny. She
Because she
came out
knew it was
'cause
a bad word.
I didn't believe her.
Neither of us did.
Neither was
And
I thought we just made up a word. It was like Destiny.
Well,
Destiny was like, "Oh, this is a
'cause-
bad
'cause-
word." I was like, "Yeah, right. We just made it
well,
up.
the
How's
thing
it a
is-
bad
The
word?"
thing is, I still don't blame us for that because just
Young,
of how
dumb, and foot
just
of
of how-
stupid.
bored we got. We would stay there for like upwards of 7 hours
That was before video games.
while
were
mom and dad.
invented.
Yeah, and this was before we had the idea of bringing the PS2 to where we were. Remember, we used to do that. We used to bring because on days that we knew we were gonna stay there like all day, we would bring the PS2 to the multi-purpose building right next to the church. Remember? We bring it back there.
Right. We play Attack of the Toy Bots.
yes.
Hey!
And we watch High School Musical 2 on DVD.
Oh yes. Many
those
good
the-
movies.
those are the
many
good old
good
days.
times were had.
Oh my gosh, I miss them. But
Yeah.
on the days where we wouldn't
we'd-
have those things,
We'd have to have an episode where we
Yeah.
just go into depth of our
I know.
childhood because there's so many good memories.
and on the
There's so
days
many good
on the days we
memories.
didn't have those things, we would. I remember us
long have we
literally
been going for?
spinning around
We're
in
going for an hour and a half
circles
now.
and spinning around in circles, making ourselves dizzy, and then just lying on the floor about to throw up. We drink like a whole bottle of Mountain Dew Thunder. Remember that, like the blue Mountain Dew? Remember that? We'd have like a fridge
True.
full of it for some reason. I don't even like a Mountain Dew at all. Why not just like a good Mountain Dew like Code Red?
That's
or whatever?
probably what led to your distaste for Mountain Dew.
Yeah, I know. I would, but we get a bunch of soda like Pepsi that we could have like leftover from whatever we had, and then eventually we landed upon making up fake words, and that's what we came upon.
Yeah.
So we invented.
Was the
So
power
if you want
out?
to know who invented that word, it was us.
No, wait. This was at the church.
That's where I,
thought it
remember-
was I thought it was when we were in Selma, in our front yard. I thought
That's
we were
where
out
we
front.
came up with the word. But
But
when
it
we
carried over.
yeah.
Oh.
'Cause I remember asking mom in her office because mom was working in her office.
What happened? I mean, like, what? How? When did we stop? Because
'Cause
we definitely didn't
I
stop
didn't
by
know.
ourselves.
I didn't know. Des came in and told us that neither of us believed her, so we kept on doing it. But I went to mom's office and asked her. I said, "Mom, is a bad word?"
Fuck.
Yeah, you say it for me.
Fuck.
Is a bad word. And she said, yes, it is. She was kind of shocked, but she was the kind of girl that because we did so many weird
I have
things
another
as
memory.
kids. We did so many weird things as kids that whenever we asked her a question about something, no matter how weird it was, she would answer like honestly. She wouldn't make up
Exactly.
anything weird, which is I
I
think
love that.
which I think is part of the reason that like she was like we didn't grow up as like
she
you know,
didn't sugarcoat
because
it.
remember when we were like we played with other like church kids and we'd be around them. You know how like I wouldn't say vibe, but like the weird like feeling they give off of like
Ignorance.
hollowness.
Hollowness?
Yeah, ignorance too, but like
Oh yeah.
of like
That's kind
I
of the
don't know.
weird. It's kind of weird feeling with religious kids.
you know like
That's another weird thing. We didn't.
it's like the
We
feeling of a
mentioned this
comb over.
before in like the previous episode. If you haven't watched it, and if you haven't, go. Why you listen to this first? Go away. You're listening out of order. But yeah, we mentioned that the reason behind the name was because we grew up sheltered, but that's not entirely true. We did grow up sheltered. We didn't grow up experiencing most things that most kids do, but we still had a good education. We had family. We had parents that they didn't sugarcoat. They didn't sugarcoat most things. Like
Yeah.
there was some
Well, if
like when you're a kid,
there would
you
be the
shouldn't
thing that
be,
they would treat us like normal kids, like they
Yeah.
told us like stuff about the Tooth Fairy, Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, things like that.
Well, I figured out
But
Santa
it would
Claus.
be
I
it
figured
would
all by myself.
it would be to the
It was not. It was not
but
Santa.
it would be
it was Dad.
but it would
Dad
be
was Santa.
if we were at the age or at the mental maturity where because me and you figured some of this stuff out
Yeah.
around this because we like spent all day together.
Uh-oh.
So if you knew something, I knew something.
I think your battery's about to die.
Yeah, it's getting real low, but it's fine. We're about to end this anyway.
Yeah.
It would, but when you would know something, I would know something because we told each other about everything.
Yeah.
So, like the time that we found our baby teeth, remember that under the kitchen sink or something like that.
kitchen sink. Wait, what?
It was like somewhere. It was hidden somewhere in the house. But I remember you showing it to me. And we asked Mom, is like, hey, does the Tooth Fairy exist? She's like, no, it doesn't exist. And we're like, oh, okay.
Awesome.
We just keep on going. With
When
our
I found
lives.
it, I legit thought that Mom was the Tooth Fairy. Like when I put two and two together and thought Dad was Santa, just our Santa. I thought that like
But-
every parent's dad was Santa, was like their own Santa.
Because when I was
And
a
that's
kid,
kinda true.
Because when I was a kid and I asked our parents if Santa was real, and they were like,
Your dad's Santa, your mom's
No.
Tooth Fairy.
and they were like, and like seriously asked them, like, I want to know, and they're like, no, it doesn't exist.
Do I want?
I wasn't shocked at all. I was like, why in the world would you tell us in the first place? Because like, it's not like the presents aren't different, and it's not, it's and you like
But
they.
the enjoyment.
And the thing
though.
is, they like I was like, well, the parents like that tell these kids that like they miss out on a lot of like reward because the kids think that this other guy's coming and giving them gifts, but not the parents. So instead of thanking the parents, they thank this figment of this guy that died centuries ago.
Yeah.
So
Or this like other image of the resemblance of this guy that doesn't even exist.
yeah, and it's
Sorry, kids.
yeah. If you're watching this and you're younger than 7 years old, Santa Claus does exist.
It's rated E, or it's rated. This podcast is rated explicit, or however. Yeah.
PG.
That's actually the thing. I
Yeah.
have this, since this is an unhinged podcast. I actually have it rated
Yeah.
explicit.
But then,
How do you
but
say that? It's not rated
I-
E because it's not a TV show. How do you say it? Rated E? Rated T?
you could say E because like on Spotify it has the E for explicit under some certain songs.
But not for everyone.
Yes.
18 plus, I guess.
Anyway, unless you're just okay with that, because Spotify doesn't really care how old you are if you listen to music
Yeah.
with bad words in it.
Or you're us.
Yeah. 'Cause
We
they
actually
have
started
parental
watching
controls.
explicit content
They
when
have
we
parental
were
controls.
really young.
Speaking
Not
of
really young,
speaking of parental controls, back to what I was saying.
but oh yeah.
Because I used to think like I'm never gonna tell my kids that. I remember thinking that when I was younger. I'm not gonna tell my kids that these things exist because it's just gonna be, I don't know, weird trying to convince them because I've never been one to.
Yeah.
Like whenever, like even now, I'm kind of uncomfortable playing with kids like I'm a kid. I
Yeah.
don't like because I didn't like being a kid.
We just get
when I was
along
a
with
kid.
kids easy,
Yeah,
not in any creepy way.
I
Don't
didn't
go
like
there,
because I
but,
didn't like being a kid when I was a kid. I'm like,
yeah, it's just you're tapping into that part of you
Yeah.
that's still there.
I never really told
We're
anything.
not the kind of people who kind of like
you know?
completely throw away our childhood. It was like, yeah, that was a part of me that happened, but I was a kid. No, it was like it was part of your growth. It is essential to being a normal functioning human
Yeah.
being. It's tapping into that
But
childlike person of you, so you don't die inside.
because
Also, for like people like us, where it's like, well, more so me, a, aspiring more often than a content creator. It was like that creativeness. You have to kind of tap into that in order to let your creativity flow and
yeah.
have fun with it.
Well,
But I do,
and
I
I
kind
feel
of get
like-
where you're coming from, but also, I will totally tell
Yeah.
my kids about Santa and the Tooth Fairy and everything
That-
because it's not necessarily you lying to them. It's just giving them this extra
That's-
layer of enjoyment.
that's
It's
exactly
it's
what
kind
I'm
of
thinking
sugarcoating it
about.
for children.
because I remember the most fun Christmas that I remember having was when we were still living. I think it was our first. I don't think it was our first in Durham.
Maybe
We
our
might have
first in
still been living, but it's when it was like
I'm not sniffling too much,
the
am I?
earliest I remember. I don't think so. It was the earliest I remember us having our family Christmas at our house. We
Which
dressed
one?
up in Christmas pajamas.
We have
We'd go
we have many
outside.
houses when we were
Yeah,
younger.
we'd go outside and we'd like lie out in the front yard, like look at the stars and stuff like that. Bring blankets out. Remember that? We used to do a bunch of stuff, and we had a really good time with family. Ate a lot, had a good time. And then I remember right before bed, it was pretty late, around like 10:30, and Mom said, "Hey, come here," and she had this thing pulled up on the computer, and it was an animation of a Santa tractor. Remember that? And she was like, and it had an
Yeah.
animation Santa on the sleigh. It'd be like, Santa is in Mexico right now.
Yeah,
like, doing
totally.
that.
I love that.
And be like, oh, we gotta go to bed. And we would crawl into bed. And I remember just like this, like warm fuzzy feeling of like, this is gonna be awesome. Like going to bed. And for some reason, it made the day after Christmas or like the afternoon of Christmas feel
Christmas Day.
feel better
Yeah.
because
That's kind of what I want to do when I tell my kids about Santa. It's like it instills this like magical feeling of Christmas, but I also don't want to like I want to tell them about Santa because I want to give them like this magical feeling of Christmas, but I don't want to lie to them when they start catching on. Like when they start catching on, I'm gonna
because
tell 'em.
they're
Because they're
eventually
at the
gonna,
point where they can like
they're eventually
if-
gonna be
at
made
the
fun
point
of.
where they start questioning things and having like where they start having what's the word when they're able to pick apart things. It's not cynicism, it's cynical. No, not cynical. Help me out here.
Wait,
When you're like pick aparting things and you're being real precise about something, questioning things. Something studies.
Nitpicky.
Being picky. Yeah. Well, when at the point a kid can like question things and have like that mentality, then they're at the age when they should know anyways. At that point, they're just living a fantasy, and
Yeah.
that's not
I
even
don't want
that's not
them-
even healthy.
I
And
don't-
also,
I
you're
don't ever
lying
want
to
them
your
to
kid
be
even
made fun
further,
of.
trying to like enforce this idea, like, no, Santa's real, Santa's
Yeah.
real. But in actuality,
'Cause
you've been lying to them
I
their whole
think
life.
any parent who has their kid get in a fight or be made fun of for believing in Santa, believing in something that doesn't exist at all, it just it's like screams overprotectiveness to me. Because
I don't want to hurt
because
my kid.
you know how
Well,
parents-
yeah,
you
you're
know
gonna,
how
like,
parents-
destroy them. In
you know
the
how
future.
parents love that stage. I understand why, because parents love that stage of a child's life where they're like this childhood wonder. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think understanding how these imaginary figments or like of holidays don't exist kind of marks a period of that ending. So a lot of parents don't want their children to find that out because, like how a lot of kids or a lot of parents are overprotective because they don't want their kids to grow up. They want them to stay children. Which I understand.
That's another thing that parents should realize. You can have both.
Yeah, you have to have a good mix.
That's why you should always take such good care of nurturing your kid when they're young, and even when they're
And-
going through, maybe they're like going through that like stereotypical emo phase. You should always be there to like
Well,
help them get through it, because more often than not, it's a phase.
Part of that has
And
to do
also,
with
you should help nurture them, because you can have both. You can have the best of both worlds.
yeah, because
Like a really, like artists. How else do you think they're not all like super serious? Well, some of them are, but they're lame. It's like they're not all super serious. A lot of them are kind of big man children
well, part of that has to do with loving
in the best way.
with loving your kids, because I heard this through taking a short psychology class, is that when you're a kid, you go through this thing called identity foreclosure, which is part of like a phases of like
What are you trying to buy a house?
children finding their identity. And essentially that's like the middle part of a child's life where they identify with things, but it mostly has to do with what their parents identify with. Because when you're a kid, the only window through the real world is your parents.
Totally, yeah. Exactly.
So that's the lens you see through the whole world, is what your parents see or what your parents say. So at that point, a lot of parents want
Finish your
that,
podcast, you gotta
look
wrap this up.
back at that as the good part of a child's life. But I don't think that's the case, because through that point, before that point, your child isn't really themselves. They haven't developed their own identity or personality.
They're living their lives through you.
Yeah. And when
The parent.
when the
Parents.
kid gets older, like before they move out and they start going through maybe a rebellious phase. Not all kids go through rebellious phase, but a phase where they're trying to figure themselves out and find out who they are or what they want to do for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. And I kind of
That is where they
Until you
find
s-
out who they are, and that's where they discover their own unique personality. And they're not just a mini-me of their parents. Some kids are closer to their parents than others, like in terms of their personality, and that's fine. But sometimes it's not the case.
We resemble moms so much, dude.
In some ways,
And like both in like how we look, because me and Dave both have mom's type of hair, like kind of bushy and curly, but Dave has our dad's hair color. I have my mom's hair. I have my mom's hair color. So I win. But yeah, it's not just how we look, but it's how we act too. There's like the ways that we, act, talk, like our emotions kind of tie up to how mom is, Mom's a real big dreamer. Dad was a real big dreamer too, actually. Jesus.
Yeah. And I think that's part of it.
But mom was a lot more artistic, I guess. A lot more creative.
And speaking of dreams, about to wrap this up. Which kind of brings us back to what we started with, was dreams. But
well, it was a different type of dreams.
yeah. But like I said, the two words do kind of have something in common,
Because everything you think is a total fantasy, nothing is real. You should also.
But when you're a kid, that kind of goes back to when you're kind of this childhood wonder. You have a lot of dreams when you're a kid. Like I think every kid has watched, because our parents used to watch these, like Blue Bloods and like Matlock and these things, and
Yeah.
they're like, that's kind of cool. I want to be a police officer.
So much of my childhood. That's another really good memory. So much of my childhood was
Watching these
when
old shows.
Dad was in the living room and he'd just be watching TMC.
Yeah.
And I'd just be in
Watching
there
Andy
watching
Griffith.
Matlock, watching
Andy Griffith.
Andy Griffith's show. Yeah, all those
Um,
old shows. It was such a great memory,
because
dude.
all we wanted to do was play video games.
Yeah. All we
So,
wanted to do was play. Yeah,
we wake
more
up
often
at,
than
like-
not, it was just us in the living
Yeah,
room
we'd wake
waiting
up at,
for
like,
Dad
8
to like
o'clock
fall
in the
asleep so we
morning.
could like change the channel and
Yeah.
play games.
We would,
But also, it was just in there just so I could spend time with Dad.
yeah, and
It was such a
he'd
good,
make
it
us
was
be like,
such good
he'd make
times.
us. I'd be like,
More often than not, it was reruns too.
yeah, because he told us, he'd be like, if you come here and watch this with me for an hour, I'll let you play. And we'd be like, fine.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it'd be like Dr. Phil or. And Dr. Phil, I feel like kind of has gotten more popular since then, or at least
In the
in
worst
terms of
way.
mainstream.
in the worst way.
Yeah.
I feel like he's just kind of taken it to where he's not even.
Dr. Phil used to be boring, but he's not even a doctor
really
anymore.
anymore.
I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, he got his PhD taken away. Why?
He did? I didn't even know that.
I think that's a thing. Hold on.
I just remember
I might
Dr.
just
Phil
be-
used to be more
I might just
boring
be
and
spilling
more
poop out my
actual,
mouth,
like,
but I think that's an
medically
actual
based.
thing.
because we used to watch a lot of those,
I'll
like
look it up.
Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz is another one where we used to watch a bunch of these medical talk shows that I remember watching, and I remember there being some decent information in there. But a show is a show, and especially if you're like middle-aged moms and dads to just like
Wow.
watch after work.
Yeah. Get this. Philip Calvin McGraw, Dr. Phil, was born in 1950.
So Dr. Phil is
He's 61 now. No, he's 60.
Seven.
He'll be 61 in September.
19. Wait, 19
American personality, author, and host of television, Dr. Phil. He holds a doctorate in
71.
clinical psychology, though he ceased renewing his license to practice psychology. I'm sorry, what? So he ceased renewing his license to practice. He ceased his renewing in his license of psychology to practice psychology. I must be reading that wrong. Clinical psychology. What's the difference?
Oh, wait,
Let me take a peek.
wait. Let me look at it.
Hold on. There's another one. People ask, is Dr. Phil an MD or PhD? Dr. Phil has never been licensed as a physician in any state. However, he is a doctor of philosophy in that he has a PhD. The 69, I'm sorry?
Well, you said 61, but it's actually he'd be 71 this year.
Oh.
The 1950s.
70. No. Oh, yeah, because 20.
Yes.
I keep forgetting. It's all coming so fast. 69-year-old received his degree from the University of Northern Texas in 1979 and obtained his license to practice psychology in Texas. Oh, so he got it. He was a doctor of philosophy, not clinical psychology. Wikipedia. Frick. Coming from Distractify.com, the most reliable news source.
Distractify.
But yeah, there's whatever. Don't trust
Anyway.
everything you read on the internet. Tiny tangent, but yeah. Lovely topics we talked about, but unfortunately it is time to wrap up. We're almost reaching the 2-hour mark. An hour and 41 minutes. And almost an hour 42.
Well, hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed.
DeSheltered
This has been
podcast.
great. Honestly, the podcast is the highlight of my week.
Yeah.
Honestly and truly. Last week, it wasn't the best episode, I will admit, looking back, watching it back, listening, whatever other variations. I listened to it, and even that you didn't watch the episode, did you?
I watched part of it. I didn't watch the whole thing.
At the 58-minute mark. 58, 30, somewhere in between 58 and 59.
Mhm.
I did something so stupid. when the camera cut off and it like shut down, to merge the two clips together, I did something so stupid. You have to see it. I regret it now. It was something I did last week. I regret it now. That's how much future me hates past me.
Well, I think part of
hate what
that.
I did.
I think part of that is how like
but
we're
in
kind of.
part, I love it
think part
because
of
of
that-
how much I hate it.
Part of that is kind of how we're separate because I'm so scared of doing something like that because I've done it before. That I try to be
If I put
introspective
any thought into it, I
of
would have not
how
done it.
I'd think about it ahead of time, and so I think part of me is why I'm hesitant to do stuff. Is that
Like
I
improv.
try to be that
Frick.
for you as well. I think that's part of the problem with me.
Yeah.
As I try to be that for you, I'm like sometimes some people have to make their own mistakes to learn. You know?
Maybe. But also, I just didn't put any thought into it. If I
Yeah.
put a single sliver of thought into it other than
Mm.
how to do it, I wouldn't have. I simply would have just, like, done a just, like, simple glitch edit and probably just,
Yeah.
like, merged it. But
Well,
I feel like
sometimes
dumb.
I feel like sometimes.
Anyone would cringe, especially me.
Well, I feel like there's no harm in trying.
You know.
All's
Well,
fair in
yeah,
love
I
and
kind
war.
of. That's another thing. I hate it, but I like it that I did it.
Hmm.
I like
Well-
the fact that I did it rather than not the thing I did.
That's
Right.
well. That's a good
Well, yeah.
moral in this song. Well,
It's
Hopefully-
been fun.
it has been fun.
It's been great.
Yes,
Honestly and truly.
and
I don't know how well this episode's going to turn out, but if you guys stuck for this long, thank you honestly and truly.
Mhm.
I hope you all had as much fun as we did. Not as much comedic value in this episode as I would have liked, but a
Mhm.
lot of good talk, a lot of good banter. I hope you had some enjoyment. So, yeah. We will now end this episode